We'll start. I will chant and you can repeat. Oh, prapanna parijataya stotra vetraikapanaye jnanamudraya krishnaya गीतामृतदुहे नमः कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यत् श्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाससे गतासून् अगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानम् नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानाम् अन्त एव च भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसाम् सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम् सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति एतु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखः सुखः क्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः हरिः ओम तत्सत्. Good. So it is highly recommended that you chant this set of shlokas every day as a reminder of what you learn in the class on Saturday and Sunday, so that throughout the week you stay with the knowledge. And also during the beginning of the class, though everyone is on mute, I would recommend that all of you from wherever you are, you chant loudly along with the when we do the chanting, because it sets the context switch so that you can start concentrating in the class right from the very beginning. What happens is, before coming to the class, you would have been involved in so many other activities, and so when you come to the class, the mind will take some time to settle down. And that is why in our tradition, every class in the beginning, at least some 2 minutes, 5 minutes, there will be chanting. That is a very, very effective way to isolate the mind from the previous engagements and previous contexts and bring the mind into focus to the current engagement and the current context. So chanting in the beginning of the class gives it's a very good tool to help the mind to switch context to the current situation. So what happens is, right from the beginning, you will pay attention to the class. Otherwise, the mind would be distracted and the mind will miss the first 5-10 minutes of the class. It will miss. And like after that, only the attention would be there. So this chanting at the beginning of the class is very, very important, so that your learning is effective. Another thing is what they call as multisensory learning, right? So when you learn in the class, you also, okay, you're using your ears to listen, and probably some of you are taking notes also using your hands, and you are also seeing the shlokas as they are being shown on the screen. Now, chanting the shlokas before discussing each shloka, that involves one more sense organ, which is the one organ of action, which is the organ of voice, and that still enhances the learning process. The more the organs of action and organs of uh, senses you engage in the learning process, the more your learning will become better, right? So in any activity, like even in prayer, puja, that is why we have like karanyasa, anganyasa, like different the physical activities also connected to whatever mantra you are chanting, and like, so that the whole thing, the more organs of action and sense organs you engage in the whole process of any action, the mind is able to concentrate better on that. Okay, so, and also, if you keep chanting this every day once or twice, then these shlokas at least will automatically get into your memory. And once they are in your memory, then the manana process will start. Manana process is where you kind of keep thinking about it in subconsciously, and your mind is working on it even when you are not voluntarily engaged. Then your mind will discover more meanings into the same shlokas, and also these shlokas and their meanings, the values, the knowledge will get imbibed into the mind, into the subconscious mind, if you memorize the shlokas. When you memorize the shlokas along with the meaning, then that is the easiest way to absorb this knowledge and absorb this teaching into the subconscious mind. So, memorizing, including the meaning, is very, very important. That is also a part of the spiritual sadhana, right? So, chanting loudly and chanting every day, memorizing them and thinking about them, right? So, all these things are part of the sadhana. Okay. So, this class is not only just a Saturday, Sunday affair. Yeah, make it a part of your everyday life. Then you will get maximum benefit out of this. Okay. Fine. So we have been seeing the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. The central teaching of Bhagavad Gita is na anushochanti panditaha. Right? So now the wise man does not grieve. So what does Gita teach? Complete freedom from all sorrow through the right knowledge of who am I, what is this world, who is God, and all what is the purpose of life, all these things. Right? So now we saw the Panchakosha Viveka, which gives a very, very good model of who am I as an individual. And beyond the Panchakosha Viveka, we also saw I as pure consciousness. Right? And now we are looking at the aspects of the universal, the Ishvara. Now, this shloka, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayastitaha Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Antayevacha. Now, this is a Ubhaya Shloka. Ubhaya Shloka means like the same shloka can be interpreted for an individual also and for the universal also. Right? Now, when you say Aham Atma, now if you consider the Atma as my own Atma, my own consciousness, right? So, from the point of view of a Jnani, I can say Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. I am the pure consciousness. I reside in the heart of all living beings. I am the consciousness that reflects in the heart of all living beings. I am pure consciousness. Right? My consciousness is not different from the consciousness of any living being in this universe. When I say I, and when you say I, or when someone else says I, they all or we all mean the same I. So I am the consciousness in all living beings. Aham adischa madhyam cha bhutanam antayeva cha. We saw Sat equal to Chit. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the substratum on which this entire universe is projected. I am the screen. This entire universe is a movie projected on me as the screen. So I am the Satya Vastu. This entire universe is Nitya Vastu. It's a superimposition. It is an adhyasa. So Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashayastitaha Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Antayeva Cha. This statement I can make as the Jnani, right? As pure consciousness, as the Jnani, I can make this statement. That is one aspect of it. Now, another aspect of it is now this Aham, instead of taking it as me, as I, we can say this is Ishvara, Krishna as the Ishvara. He is saying Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shestita Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anteyeva Cha. So this Aham can mean either I as the Jnani or it can mean I as the Ishvara Krishna. Krishna says this statement. Krishna says this Aham means Krishna says Ishvara. So looking at from that point of view, this one gives two aspects of Ishvara. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. I am the pure consciousness residing in the heart of all living beings. Right? Now, this statement occurs in the Gita so many places. Okay. So, Yatah Pravritir Bhutanam Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam. Right? So, there also it comes. Right? Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Right? And then we also saw this thing in the 15th chapter. Right? What is that? Uh, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanam, right? What is that? Okay, I'm not getting the shloka. Okay. So 15th chapter, right? He says this, I am reflected in this Jiva Bhuta as all the Jivas, right? And then we have several such shlokas in the Gita where the Lord says, Rekshetrajnam Shapimam Vidhi Sarva Shekreshu Bharata, right? So, like this, there are several shlokas in the Gita where Krishna very, very clearly says that the Ishvara is reflected in the heart of all living beings. It is the Ishvara who is the consciousness in all living beings, right? That is very, very clearly described in multiple shlokas. Now, ahamadischa madhyam cha bhutanam antayeva cha. This shows Ishvara as also the material cause of this universe, right? Whatever is there in this universe, it is the Lord alone, right? So, in this entire universe, if we see, the entire universe can be divided into two: consciousness and the material, right? Sentient and insentient. So here the Lord says, I am the sentient entity in this universe. I am also the insentient entity in this universe. So the Lord is the consciousness, and also the Lord is the material of this whole universe. So there is nothing which is other than the Lord. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchitasti dhananjaya, he says. There is nothing other than me in this entire universe. Right? So that is what the Lord says. So these are two aspects of the Lord. The Lord as pure consciousness, and the Lord as this entire universe. Vishwarupa Ishvara. This is what is meant by Vishwarupa Ishvara. When he says Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Antayeva Cha, this is the Vishwarupa Ishvara idea. Now, the next shloka, this talks about a third idea of the Lord as a person. Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatvamam shantim richati. So when he says Bhoktaram yajnatapasam, so it means he says, I am the recipient, I am the enjoyer, I am the experiencer of all your activities, whether you are doing external activity or internal activity. 15th chapter, again, like Gita gives, Krishna gives very detailed description based on all the five koshas he explains, right? He says, like, Gama Vishya Bhutani. So starts with the Annamaya kosha, and then he says, then goes to the Pranamaya kosha, right? Vai aham vaishwanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha, right? And then he goes to the Manomaya kosha, right? Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto mattasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. And then he goes to the Vijnanamaya kosha, Vedesya sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kritu veda videha chaham. So at every level of the Panchakosha, the Lord says, it is I am the one who is this universal entity. So that covers this one also, and this Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam also. So if you are hungry, actually that is an expression of the Samashti Prana saying there is this body is hungry. When you put food into this mouth, it is the Lord sitting in the stomach. He digests the food, he eats the food as the Jataragni, right? As the Vaishvanara, right? So he says Bhoktaram Yagnitapasam, right? Or let us say you are helping someone, right? You are going on the road, and some child is riding a bicycle, and the child falls down, and then you immediately go and you lift the child, and then you check if the child is all okay, right? You don't know the child, it's a stranger, right? You've never seen this child, and probably you will never meet this child in the future also. But then immediately when a child falls down on the road, you immediately go and you pick up the child as if the child is your own child, right? Now, this goes to the Lord, right? So, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, this help that you did to this child, it goes to the Lord. That is why we say, like, Makkal Sevai, Maheshwara Sevai, right? Shiva Jnane, Jiva Seva. So, all those ideas come from this, right? So serving the world is serving the Lord Himself, right? So Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Then, so the Lord is omnipresent, He is omniscient. He knows everything that happens in this universe. The second aspect of the Lord is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the omnipotent entity. It is by him that the rain it rains. It is by him that the sun shines. It is by him the wind blows. Right. So there's a beautiful sequence in Kathopanishad also, and even in Gita also he says like Nigrihami Srijami Ham. Right. So Nigrihami, like I am the one who withholds rain also. Srijami Aham. I am the one who uh, blesses the rain also. So, right, like, so it is a Lord, it is by His wish that this entire universe operates, right? Without His wish, not even one grass will move, right? Not even one atom will move in this universe without His wish. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, right? His entire universe is completely under His control. There is a second aspect, He is omnipotent. Third aspect is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, right? He is the well-wisher of all the living beings in this universe. He is the true well-wisher of all the living beings in this universe. So when you say true well-wisher, what does he wish? What does he wish for all the living beings in this universe? He wishes that all the living beings in this universe should spiritually progress, they should spiritually develop. Now, this is where the conflict comes. Now, often we don't have the spiritual development as the primary goal of life. The problem is whether we accept spiritual goal as the primary goal of life or not. For the Lord, spiritual development is the primary goal of life. And sometimes the spiritual development might be through material problem. There might be success and failures in life. So there might be, gain and loss. Whether it is gain and loss, whether it is success or failure, it is all designed by the Lord for our spiritual development, right? Materially, we may gain, materially, we may lose, but the Lord knows what He is doing. He gives to us for what is needed for our spiritual development. And so, whenever we face problems in life or whenever we see others facing problems in life, we should understand that it all happens by the will of the Lord, and the will of the Lord is for spiritual development. So we should see what spiritual lesson the Lord is trying to teach us through this incident. So through this, whether it is success or failure, in both cases, we need to try to understand what is the Lord trying to teach us, because that is His intention, that is His hridayam. He is teaching us, He is working for our spiritual development. Every incident in our life has been tailor made by the Lord for us, for our spiritual development. And often we don't understand that. That is where we think, oh, yeah, I'm getting so much of trouble, right? Why is the Lord giving this to me? Why is this happening to me? Now, the question is good, but we need to seek an intellectual answer, a knowledge based answer. Instead of trying to avoid the situation, we should accept it and then say, okay, what is the lesson I need to learn from this? What is the lesson the Lord wants me to learn from this? Right? So that is the hridayam, right? So he is the suhrit. He is the true well-wisher of all living beings in this universe. And Nyatva Mam Shantim Richati. If we understand these three aspects of the Lord, that the Lord is the omniscient, omnipotent, and He is the compassionate one. Now, if the Lord is omniscient, if the Lord is omnipotent, and the Lord is compassionate, now what is there for us to worry about? No anxiety, no fear, no grudge, no regret. We don't need to have anything at all, because we know that the Lord knows everything and the Lord is capable of everything, and the Lord is my true well wisher. So I don't need to worry about anything at all. That is what the shloka says. Nyatva mam shantim richati. Knowing the Lord, thus, if a person knows the Lord this way, these three aspects of the Lord, then immediately there will be peace. Right? Now, this is the third aspect of Ishvara. So, three aspects. One is Ishvara as pure consciousness, then Ishvara as this entire universe, and Ishvara as the supreme person of this universe. Right? Ishvara is that person to whom this entire universe is him. Like we saw in our body, there are trillions of cells. Every cell is a living being of its own right. But in spite of that, we say I, right? We say I have a identity. So just as the relationship between us and each cell in our body, the same is the relationship between Ishvara and us, right? The relationship that we have with each cell in the body is the same relationship that Ishvara has towards us. He is that supreme being who identifies himself with this entire universe and all the living beings, all the galaxies, all the planets, all these solar systems, right? All the living beings, everything is a part of his, his whole existence, the Virat Purusha, right? We saw. So this is the idea of God. So we have to be very, very clear about this idea of God according to Gita. Three ideas of God. God is consciousness, God is this universe, and God is the person also. He is a supreme person, right? All these three are important, right? So having understood this so far, this is what we have covered so far in the last class. We will continue this for a few more slides, ideas, and then we will look for the question answers. So these all we saw in the last class. There are various Bhagavatam talks about Navavida Bhakti and how Navavida Bhakti maps to these three ideas in the Gita. That is also very beautiful, right? So you can see that. I'll send the PDF at the end of today. So now there are various aspects of God, whatever we saw now, right? Three aspects we saw. The Vaishnava tradition very, very beautifully and expands this further into five aspects of Ishvara. I think this, I'm not sure whether it was Ramanujacharya or Vedanta Desika who formulated these five aspects of God. I think it is Vedanta Desika. Anyway, so Vedanta Desika has elaborately discussed on this idea and very beautifully, right? So the first aspect is Paravasudeva, the impersonal aspect, right? The impersonal aspect we saw as Aham Atma Gudakesha, right? And then the Vyuha Avatara aspect, the universal aspect, right? Which is, you can actually, like, there are slightly, you can interpret in multiple ways. You can say the universal aspect as Ahamatma Gudakesha and also as the Ahamadischa Madhyamcha Bhutanam Antayevacha. So the both the impersonal aspects. And then the Vyuha Avatara can be the personal aspect as a universal personal aspect. Another way is you can say this one is Ahamatma Gudakesha and Vyuhavatara you can say is the Ahamadischa Madhyamcha Bhutana Manteyagacha. So like there are basically like gray areas. You can consider this way, that way. Some of the things you can put it here also, there also. It is okay, right? You don't need to. That of course there will be academicians, there will be different schools of thought who will say like no, this should be considered only there, this should be considered only here, but we don't need to worry too much about that. Okay, there will be different schools of thought. It is okay, right? As long as everything is covered in some aspect or the other, no problem, right? We don't need to do hair splitting argument about that. Okay, so Paravasudeva Vyuhavatara is the universal aspects of the Lord, right? Both universal impersonal and universal personal aspect of the Lord. Now, this Lord, who is the universal Lord, how can we as human beings worship that Lord, right? The Lord is universal. He says, I am omniscient, omnipotent, I am compassionate, I am everywhere, right? Now, how do we worship such a Lord? Now, I'll give you an example. Now, we are all living in Bharat Desha. We are living in India. And on August 15th, Independence Day, we want to worship India. We want to show respect to India. We want to pay homage to India. Now, how do we worship India? We are inside India. We are a part of India. and north, south, east, west, all directions, like the right from the sky above us to and the ground beneath us, it is all India only. So how do we worship India? How do we show our respect to India? What do? We put one flagpole, we hoist a flag, and under that flagpole below, we put a picture of Bharat Mata, and we offer some flowers to Bharat Mata picture, and we salute the flag. Now, this way we show our respect to India. Now, why do we show respect to India? Now, there are various reasons, because this is the way we can emotionally connect to India, right? It's a way of expressing our emotions, of our gratitude, of our respect. We have to express our emotions. And as human beings, we have limitation of how we can express our emotions. We can express our emotions only through these kind of activities. And also, why should we express our emotions? So that the emotions get deeper, right? The expression, we by saluting the flag, by standing up for national anthem, and by worshipping, putting flowers at the feet of Bharat Mata, we are able to enhance our emotions, deepen our emotions, and that will take effect in our subconscious mind in the decisions that we make. Right? These are all the ways by which we can push this idea from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. That is the purpose of all these things, right? All these rituals. These are all rituals, right? Saluting the national flag is a ritual, right? Now, these rituals are there so that the from the idea gets penetrated from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind, because as we saw, the decisions are made in the subconscious mind, right? Whether in any situation, what to do, to decide this way or that way, all the decisions are made at the subconscious mind, not at the conscious level. So what we can do is, from the conscious mind we can reprogram the subconscious mind, right? Using the conscious mind, we can reprogram the subconscious mind. Now, how do you reprogram your subconscious mind to be patriotic? By saluting the flag, by singing the national anthem, by putting flowers at the feet of Bharat Mata. This is how we can reprogram our subconscious mind to be patriotic. Clear? Now, the rituals are all designed for that. Just like the national rituals, there are these religious rituals. They are also designed to push these ideas of impersonal aspect of God, the universal aspect of God, to push all these ideas of God which we have been intellectually discussing, to push those into our subconscious mind. All the religious rituals have been designed, right? And now we have two types of the images which we are using: the national flag, the flag post towards which we salute. That is one kind of image. The other one is that one kind of symbol. The other kind of symbol is the photo of Bharat Mata. Now, we are all human beings, so we can correlate to a human like form much more than any other form. That is why we have the picture of Bharat Mata, right? The India as a mother appeals to our emotions much more easily than as an abstract symbol like the flag or the Ashoka Chakra, right? So we have the national emblem, right? Or we have the national flag. Now they are called pratika, right? Non-humanoid symbols, right? Which are called pratikas. Now, humanoid symbols are called pratimas. The image of Bharat Mata, that is a pratima. Now, we do that everywhere, right? If you go to BWSSB headquarters in Bangalore, there is a beautiful statue of Kaveri Mata, right? Mother Kaveri statue is there in the Bangalore BWSSB headquarters, right? Or if you go to the headquarters of the Tamil Nadu government in Chennai, there is an image of Tamil, Tamil mother of Tamil, right? And of course, like even for every Rajyotsava, we all in Bangalore, in Karnataka, we also worship Karnataka and Kannada as the mother, right? And Tamil Nadu, they worship the Tamil as the mother, right? And if you go to Haridwar, you can find that in Haridwar there is a statue of Ganga Mata, right? Mother Ganga sitting on a crocodile, right? So Ganga Mata is there in Haridwar besides the Ganga. So like this, we have pratimas for every aspect, right? It helps us. It helps us to emotionally connect with that entity. It is basically based on the way our mind works, right? The acharyas, the great people of the past in our parampara, have designed all these forms, all these rituals, everything, because they know how the human mind works. They know how the human emotions work. And they know that the human mind needs these kind of forms so that we can push it into our subconscious mind from where the decisions are made. This whole thing is a beautiful psychological design, right? And so the, we saw that Ishvara is the universal, right? Ishvara is the universal. And in every aspect where the universal is there, the corresponding personal, individual aspect, or every time we take an universal aspect, the corresponding universal aspect, we project as the Ishvara. For example, like when we consider ourselves as citizens of India, then we portray Ishvara as Bharat Mata, the same Ishvara. Because in that context, when we say I am a Bharatiya, Bharat Mata is the corresponding universal aspect. When I say I am living in Karnataka, I am a citizen of Karnataka, then Karnataka Mata is the corresponding universal aspect. When I say I am a Tamilian, Tamil is my mother tongue, then Mother Tamil is the corresponding universal aspect. When I go to take bath in the Ganga, Ganga Mata is the corresponding universal aspect, right? When I say, I am a living being on earth, then Vasundhara Devi, the Dharati Mata, the Bhumi Mata, and also the Surya Devata, they become the aspects of Ishvara. If I am starting a new venture, Ganesha becomes the aspect of Ishvara. If I'm going to study, then I worship the same Ishvara as Saraswati. If I'm going to start a business venture, I worship the same Ishvara as Lakshmi. So, the same Ishvara, or if I want to go for bodybuilding, I will worship the same Ishvara as Hanumanji, right? So, the same Ishvara, depending on the context, right? Depending on how I consider myself as an individual in that context, the corresponding universal concept I consider Ishvara as. And Ishvara being universal, he can play all those roles. It is like, a person is there, I am there. Now, to my parents, I am a son. To my children, I am a father. To my wife, I am a husband. To my company, I am an employer. To my reporting people, I am their manager. To my neighbors, I am a neighbor. To this country, I am a citizen, right? So, depending upon the context, I have so many individual identities. And for every individual identity, the corresponding universal identity is Ishvara, right? So, Ishvara is the one who is Bharat Mata. Ishvara is the one who is Karnataka Mata. The same Ishvara is the one who is Tamil Mata. The same Ishvara is Saraswati, Lakshmi, Ganesha, Anjaneya. If I consider myself as a Vishnu Bhakta, the same Ishvara is Vishnu. The same Ishvara is Lakshmi. The same Ishvara is Shiva. These are all the same universal Ishvara, takes all these forms and names depending on the context of the individual worshipper. Okay. Now, having understood this, the Ishvara, as he manifests through these pratimas and pratikas, is what is called as Archa Avatara. The Ishvara can be worshipped through images, through pictures, through all these things. We can worship Ishvara, and Ishvara will respond back. Why will Ishvara respond back? Because he is omniscient, he is omnipotent, and he is compassionate. Right? We cannot say Ishvara will will not respond back if I worship in this form, but Ishvara will respond back if I worship in that form. You cannot say that. You cannot put restrictions saying Ishvara can be worshipped only as formless and not as with form. Because if you do that, then you are challenging either the omniscience of Ishvara or the compassionate nature of Ishvara. If Ishvara is omniscient, if Ishvara knows that whether you worship through Ganesha or Lakshmi or through formless, or you call Ishvara as Allah or Jesus or whatever form and name you call Ishvara as, if Ishvara is omniscient, he knows that you are worshipping him. Now, if Ishvara is compassionate, he will respond back. Like, Sri Ramakrishna gives a very beautiful example. He says, suppose there is in a family, the father is there and there are three children. Now, one child like calls Appa, 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 the child calls. The other child has been taught in a convent school to call as daddy. So that child calls us daddy, daddy, daddy. Now, there is a third child who is just a 1 year old. That child cannot say Appa also, cannot say daddy also. That child might say pa, right? Ba. The child doesn't know how to say, Baba, doesn't know how to say Appa or Papa or Daddy. The child doesn't know how to say all that. The child only says Ba. Now, would he be a real father if he says to the 1 year old child, I will respond to you only if you call me Daddy. If you call Ba, what is this? I will not respond back to you. Will he say? No, he will not. Right? Because if he says so, then he is not compassionate. So if you say that Ishvara or God will respond back only if you call by this name, only if you worship in this form, if you say so, it is a blasphemy against God himself. Right? You are challenging either the omniscience of the Lord or you are challenging the compassionate nature of the Lord. The Lord is compassionate. Gita says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitum ichyati tasya tasya achalam shraddham tameva vedamyaham. He says, through whichever yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha, right? So whoever worships me, right? Yo yo, whichever bhakta, yam, right? Through whichever uh, form, right? And ritual, tanu means like form, right? Bhakta, shraddhayarchitum ichyati. Through Shraddha, if a person is Architum Ichati, wants to worship, right? Then he says, through that same form, I will respond back, right? The Lord says, through whichever name you call me, I will respond back through the same form and name. There are innumerable stories in our tradition which show this, right? So there was in Pandharpur, there was this one devotee of Shiva, okay, Narahari Sonar. He was a devotee of Shiva and he was a jeweler, right? He was a sonar, Narahari Sonar. And he was a staunch devotee of Shiva. He will never go to the Pandharpur, the Pandarinatha, Panduranga temple. He never goes to Panduranga temple. He only goes to the Mallikarjuna temple, which is also there in Pandharpur. The Shiva temple, Mallikarjuna temple is there. He goes only to the Mallikarjuna temple. He doesn't go to the Panduranga temple. Now, Panduranga wanted to make this devotee, because for him, devotee is a devotee. Whether you are a devotee of Shiva or whether you are a devotee of Vishnu, the Lord, everything goes to him only, right? Sarvam Keshavam Pratigachati. Everything goes to the Lord, same Lord only. There's only one God. So, this Lord in the form of Panduranga wanted him to come to the Panduranga temple. So, he was wondering, how can I make this Narahari Sonar, this great devotee, to come to my temple? And so he, as Panduranga, so many leelas he has played. And he played one leela. What did he do? There was one very rich devotee who wanted to make a golden waist chain for Panduranga. Right? He wanted to make a golden waist chain for Panduranga. And he came to Pandharpur. He wanted to offer one golden waist chain to Panduranga. So he was asking the people, okay, like who is the best? I want to get this done only by the best jeweler. So uh, please tell me who is the best jeweler in Pandharpur. I want to get this done. So everyone told Narahari Sonar is the best jeweler here. You go to him. So he went to him and he told him, see, I want to make a golden waist chain for Panduranga. So please make it. Narahari Sonar said, no, I am a Shiva devotee. I will not make for Panduranga. Then he said, like, no, see, you are a jeweler. It is your dharma, your professional dharma to cater to this. Why do you bother whether it goes to Panduranga or whether it goes to Mallikarjuna? That is not your problem. You are a jeweler and you do justice to your profession. And people are saying you are the best jeweler. And I want to be done. I want, for the Lord, I want to be done only by the best jeweler. So nothing doing. I am your customer. Customer is king. You have to make it for me. Then he said, okay, fine. I will make it. But then you have to make the measurement. You have to take the measurement and come. Then he said, the Naragiri Sonar said, I will not come to Panduranga temple to make measurement. You go and take measurement and come. I will make it according to your measurement. Measurement, only a jeweler can make the right measurement. How can a common man make? Anyway, there was no other option. So the devotee went and took measurement of Panduranga and came back and told, this is the length, make the hip chain, the waist chain for Panduranga. So Narahari Sonar made a very beautiful, very, very artistic waist chain with all different gems and studded, and such a beautiful waist chain he made and gave. And the devotee was very happy. He took it, went to Panduranga temple and put it to the image, and it was very loose. It was very loose. It was hanging below. It was not even standing on the hip. It just slid and fell to the feet of Panduranga. So he said, no, 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 okay, it is not too long. So he took it back to Narahari Sonar and said, it is too big, make it smaller. And Narahari Sonar said, okay, fine. And then he cut some pieces of the behind the extra chain, and he made it smaller and said, okay, take it and go. Now the devotee took it to Panduranga, and there they again put it. It was too small. They couldn't even put it across the waist of Panduranga. Now he came back to Narahari Sonar and said, it is too small. It has to be bigger. Then the Narahari Sonar said, okay, fine. He added some more pieces of to increase the length. The devotee took it to Panduranga. Now it was too big. It again did not stand in the waist. It fell to the feet. So now the devotee got frustrated. He said, Narahari Sonar, you have to come and you only have to take the measurement. Like, it is not working. Then the Narahari Sonar said, like, yes, made this so much of commitment, everything. Now he had no other way. He said, okay, fine. I will come. But I will not see Panduranga because I am a Shiva devotee. I will come blindfolded. I have never entered the temple so far, Panduranga temple. This is the first time I am going. I don't want to go. I am coming just only for you. And I don't want to see Panduranga image. So blindfold me, take me by my hand, and I know my job. Even without seeing, with my hand only, I can take measurement, no problem. Take me. So Narahari Sonar was blindfolded, and the devotee took him by his hand into the temple and took him to the image of Panduranga. And the Narahari Sonar, he touched with his hand to see where is the feet, where is the hips, where. And to his surprise, when he touched the feet and when he touched the hips of Panduranga, he saw there was a tiger skin on the hip of Panduranga, a hip of the image. He could touch and feel a tiger skin. He got surprised. And then he touched further above the image. He could feel Rudraksha. He could feel snakes on the neck. He could feel the Jatamudi. He could feel the Kamandalu. He could feel the Damaru. He could feel Trishula. As he touched and felt the image with his hands, his eyes are blindfolded. He could feel all the aspects of Shiva with his hands. And then he said, "Oh Shiva, oh Lord, Shankara, I never knew that you are Shankara. These people have been cheating me all through. They told me you are Vishnu. That is why I never came to this temple. If I knew that you are Shankara, then I would have come and I would have fell at your feet." And having touched the image of Shiva and having felt all the aspects of Shiva, now Narahari Sonar untied his blindfold by his own eyes. And when he untied and when he saw with his own eyes, there was Panduranga standing, smiling, with Makara Kuntala, with hands on his hips, right? With the Urdhva Pundara, right, on his forehead. And Narayana said, "What is this? What is this?" And he immediately retied the blindfold back. And then he said, like, "No, no, 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 something is wrong, something is wrong." And he retied it back. He tied back the blindfold, and with his hands, again he felt the image, and again he could feel Rudraksha, he could feel the Damaru, he could feel the Trishula, the Jatamudi, the snakes, right? Like Pannakabhushana, like he could feel all the aspects of Shiva with his hands, and he could feel, and again he untied his blindfold, and again he could see Panduranga with the Makarakundala, with the Urdhakundara, with his hands on his, hips. And then Panduranga smiled, and then he spoke to Narayari Sonar. "Are Narayari Sonar, you are such a great devotee. Why are you distinguishing between Shiva and me? I am Shiva, I am Vishnu, I am Brahma, I am Durga, I am all the gods are me only. Don't distinguish. I want you to be devotee of all aspects of the Lord." So this is a beautiful story of Narahari Sonar, and the these are all historical records. The waistband that Narahari Sonar made for Panduranga is still there in Pandharpur, which to tell the story that this story was real. This was a real incident. And like this, there are so many stories. I think the famous story of Gantakarna is there. If you go to Badrinath, you can see Gantakarna is the Kshetra Palaka there. The story of Gantakarna is there. You can search it. You can listen to it. So like this, there are so many stories. So there is one God who is worshipped through various aspects. Shri Ram Krishna's life also, he has done all the sadhana and he has found that every sadhana reaches the same Lord, right? And Shri Ram Krishna gives the example, right? Suppose there is a pond and one person will come and say, "This is Pani." Another person will say, "This is Jalam." Another person will say, "This is water." Pani, Jalam, water. Just because the names are different does not mean the Vastu is going to be different. So various names we give to the same Lord. And the Lord can be worshipped through any form, name, ritual, everything. The Lord himself says in the Gita that everything comes to him and he blesses the devotees through whichever name or form that he is worshipped through. In fact, Gajendra Moksha story is another example of that. Gajendra, like of course, in his Purva Janma as Indradyumna king, he worshipped Vishnu with the golden lotuses, and he became arrogant. And when his teacher Agastya came, he did not show respect to Guru. He was continuing with his puja, and by the curse of Agastya, he became the elephant and the Gajendra, and he was roaming around the Trikuta mountains. And that is when you all know the crocodile, right? Crocodile is actually a Gandharva, like who was again cursed by another rishi who came and caught his feet, and now all his friends, Gajendra's friends, tried to save him, and nothing worked. So finally, he told, as a king, he did not want to risk the rest of the herd. He made the next powerful elephant as the king, and he told the herd, "See, this is my fate. I will be here. There is nothing that you people can do now. You carry on with the rest of your herd. You all be safe. He sent them away. And now he said, okay, who can save me? I am in this trouble. So Gajendra, he makes one anonymous request. He says, O origin of this universe, and that Lord who resides in the heart of all living beings, please save me. Right? He says, Adi Moolam Sarva Hridaya Vasine. Now, if you see Sarva Hridaya Vasine and Adi Moolam, what is this? We already saw. Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayastitaha. Right? Aham, that is Sarva Hridaya Vasine. Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Antayevacha. That is Adi Moolame, the origin of this universe. That which is the Adi, Madhya, and Anta of this entire universe. So he makes this anonymous prayer with just these two epithets, saying that if there is a God who resides in the heart of all living beings and who is the cause, middle, and end of this entire universe, if there is such a Lord, please come and save me. And he offered one lotus, like to, because there's no Lord, there's no image, there is no nothing, right? He doesn't even know whether God is there or not. He doesn't even know how to pray. So he just makes one anonymous prayer, just as, O omniscient, omnipresent being, please save me. That's all. And this application, which he put into this universe, reached the Lord. And because in his previous Janma, he had worshipped Lord as Vishnu, Lord came in the form of Vishnu. And Bhagavatam says, he came on Garuda, and Bhagavatam uses the word Chandas. Garuda is the form of Chandas, the Vedic knowledge. Why? Because it is the Veda which identifies Vishnu as this origin of this universe and the consciousness of this universe. Right? Yataf pravritir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam. Yataf pravritir bhutanam. That by which this entire universe is pervaded. Right? And yena sarvam idam tatam. By whom this entire universe is pervaded. Right? That who is the heart of this universe, and also this universe also is residing in the Lord himself. Right? So Gajendra makes this anonymous prayer and the Lord responds back. So Gajendra doesn't even know what form, what name, what ritual to worship with. He doesn't know. But he makes a heartfelt prayer saying, if there is one universal Lord in this universe, oh Lord, please save me. Right? And the Lord comes. So this is the idea of God in Hinduism. This is the idea of Lord in Gita, Upanishads, Vedas, everywhere. Right? There is one God who can be worshipped through any name, form, and that Lord will respond back through the same name and form through which you are worshipping him. That's what Krishna says. And for our convenience, the Lord can be worshipped through various pratimas and pratikas. Here, there is another beautiful story in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Many of you must be already knowing. So, the king of Alwar in Rajasthan, he did not, he was not, because of the modern kind of ideas which were spreading in those days, and people were saying God should be worshipped only as formless, not through various forms. Like you can see, like even Brahmo Samaj was propagating such ideas, and in the even in the first and second meeting of Sri Yam with Sri Ram Krishna, right, in the gospel, Sri Ram Krishna says, do you worship God through form or with formless? And Sri Yam, because he has been closer to Brahma Samaj, he says, I prefer to worship the Lord as formless. And Sri Ram Krishna says, that is good, but don't look down upon the people who worship God through forms. And Yam is wondering, how can God be worshipped through form and through formless? And then later he slowly, as he learns from Sri Ramakrishna, he comes to know all these ideas what we have been discussing, right? So uh, the king was he also, like, was more aligned to the popular fashion of those days of saying God should be worshipped only as formless and not through any form. So he asked Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda Swamiji said, like, no, no, see, through form also you can worship God, because you are worshipping the same God whether through whichever way, right? And the king did not understand it that clearly. So to illustrate to the king, so Swamiji looked around, he saw the picture of the king was there on the wall. So he asked the Divan, the minister, to bring that picture. So he took that small picture and he brought it. And Swamiji asked the minister to spit on the picture. The minister said, no, 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 how can we do this? This is a picture of our king. We see our king in this picture. Like, we cannot. Swamiji said, like, no, this is just paper. Just now your king only told. Like, it is all paper, stone. How can you say a picture or a paper, a printed picture of God, or a stone or a wooden image of God? Like, how can it how can you call it as God? So this is just a paper. Just now your king only told. He said, like, no, 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 no. This is even though it is a paper, it is a picture of our king, and we revere it. We see our king in it. So we respect it. And then Swamiji told the king, yes, see, you see, the devotee who worships through a picture or through an image, he does not say, oh, paper, please save me. Oh, stone, save me. Oh, bronze, save me. He doesn't say that. He says, oh, Lord, save me. Right? So even though it is a picture of Shiva, he says, oh, Shiva, please respond to my prayer. Oh, Shiva, please show me the true knowledge. Oh, Vishnu, show me. So you don't address the paper or you don't address the stone. So we are worshipping the Lord through the image. You don't worship the image. You worship through the image. That is why we Hindus happily, after worshipping Durga for 10 days, ceremoniously with all drums and music, we carry that image of Durga and put it into the water and do Visarjan. If we worship the image, we cannot do that. So the Ganesha Visarjan or the Durga Visarjan, these are all rituals designed to drive this idea into our mind that we don't worship the image, we worship the deity through the image. So we have no problem in dissolving the image in water, right? We don't find, and even when if you do the homa and all, if you see, we do avahana of the Lord in the fire, we do avahana of the Lord in the image, or avahana of the Lord in a flower, and then we do the puja. And after finishing the puja, we do the pratyavahana, like where we take back the Lord into our heart from the worshipped entity, and then we do purnahuti and close the fire. We say samudram gachatu, right? And agnistvam samudram gachatu, we say, and we close the fire after revoking the Lord back into our heart. So that is the all our rituals indicate that. If we do the ritual fully understanding, we will see that how we invoke the universal Lord into the pratima or the pratika. We do the puja, and then we revoke back the Lord, and we end the puja. And in fact, like, but however, like in case of temples and all these things, we do the invocation. We invoke the Lord in the pratima or pratika, and then we permanently keep it for worship, and so that we can continue to do the worship. But we are very, very clear that it is a universal Lord whom we are worshipping through the pratima and through the pratika. Okay. So I think we have dealt quite detailed in this, and there should not be any doubt regarding this. And there will be people who are asking these questions to you under so many occasions. Both Hindus will be asking, people of other religions will be asking, atheists also will be asking. You should be very clear about this so that you can give the right answer to them. Okay, having attended Gita class, having studied the Gita, you should be able to answer these questions correctly. And The fourth aspect of the Lord is Vibhava Avatara. The same Lord incarnates in this world for the sake of the devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about 24 incarnations of Vishnu, right? Of course, the 10 which are popular, Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara, Varaha Avatara, Narasimha Avatara, right? 10 popular ones which are there. And also there are additional mention in the Bhagavatam like Mohini Avatara, right? Dhanvantri Avatara. These are all avatars only, right? Mohini, Dhanvantri, Vyasa, right? Like this, there are more avatars also. So Srimad Bhagavatam lists 24 avatars. And in the same place, Srimad Bhagavatam also says the actual number of avatars of God is infinite. There are infinite number of avatars of the Lord, right? Bhagavatam says. And the avatars are not restricted to any age. The Lord says, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. And Yuge Yuge also means Deshe Deshe, right? Yuge Yuge means different times. So their time is mentioned. We should also assume that space is also assumed in different countries, right? In different deshas, in different times, different ages, and also through different forms. The Lord incarnates, right? And there is no restriction for the Lord, right? So, and also the Lord manifests through different levels, right? He manifests through one degree in a Matsya Avatara, to another degree in a Narasimha Avatara, in a much, much higher degree in a Rama Avatara or Krishna Avatara. And also the degree also is changes, right? In Matsya Avatara, it might be more, to say, and of course, in Matsya Avatara, he does multiple work. He saves the Sapta Rishis from the deluge. He also saves the Vedas from the Ashuras. So it is both Jnana and also to the what is called the strength, valor also, right? In Krishna Avatara, he plays with the gopis. He teaches, he does diplomacy, he teaches the Gita. So various levels in various aspects, he manifests his power. So some avatars will be short-lived, right? Like Narasimha Avatara, right? And some avatars might be long-lived, like Krishna Avatara. Some might be, right from Janma up to the giving up the body, like Rama Avatara or Krishna Avatara. Some of them, he might just appear and disappear, like Narasimha Avatara. So all these possibilities are all there. So there are infinite possibilities, infinite incarnations at different levels of power can get manifested. And also, it is the same, the power of the Lord which manifests even through the different saints and seers also, right? And and it is not only Vishnu, like any god can come as an avatara, right? Like we see Shankaracharya as avatar of Shiva, right? And Vyasa as an avatar of Vishnu, right? We have the shloka, right? Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam, right? So different aspects of the Lord also can take avatara, right? We have, for example, Anjaneya. We say Anjaneya, the devotees of Neem Karoli Baba, they say he's an incarnation of Anjaneya. Fine, no problem. And devotees of Sri Ram Krishna, we say he is an incarnation of Vishnu. We say Swami Vivekananda is an incarnation of Shiva. Devotees of Ramana say Ramana is an incarnation of Kartikeya. We accept all that. No restrictions, no problems, because we believe that Ishvara is omnipotent, he is omniscient, he is compassionate, and he will manifest continuously again and again. Right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, Krishna says in the Gita. So the Lord manifests. And whenever the Lord manifests, it is a grand occasion because he gives various things in every incarnation. If you take, for example, if you take Rama Avatara, what all we got out of Rama Avatara? Of course, one is the Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya cha Dushkritam. Right? He protected so many sadhus in Dandakaranya, and he protected Vibhishana, from his own elder brother Ravana. He destroyed so many Rakshasas, right? He destroyed Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Meghnath, right? So many people, he destroyed. So, but that is not the end of it. Because of Rama, we have Ramayana. Even today we have, and we have so many saints whom Rama discovers in the Aranyakanda, right? Shabari, right? The entire Aranyakanda is full of Rama discovers so many Ratnas, right? Of course, even in Ayodhya Kanda, only Guhaka is there, and then even Sumantra is a great devotee of Rama. And as you go down, like Bharadwaja, he blesses Bharadwaja Rishi, right? Gautama Rishi, and then he blesses, right? Kabanda Mokshana, Moksha, Jatayu Moksha, right? Shabari, he's a witness to Shabari's Moksha. And so he blesses so many devotees, and Anjaneya, Sugriva, Vibhishana. So like this, so many devotees he blesses during his avatara. And also through Ramayana, as in the form of Ramayana, innumerable millions and millions of devotees are getting blessed. And a new Rama Pantha has come. Rama Vigraha, Rama is there, a new image is there, and new mantra is there, Rama Mantra, right? Becomes so popular. Of course, Rama Mantra is there even before Rama's incarnation. Rama is a manifestation of Rama Mantra. And but after Rama's incarnation, the Rama Mantra, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they are all so many mantras, so many paths, so many people, and so many festivals, Ram Navami, Deepavali, and Dashara related to Rama. So many pilgrimage centers, right? Ayodhya, Chitrakuta, right? So Rameshwaram, so many pilgrimage centers get revived, right? And so many festivals, so many things happen because of incarnations. Similarly, if you take Krishna Avatara, again, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, he blesses so many devotees during his lifetime also, and it also continues. So many festivals, right? We celebrate related to Krishna. So many dramas, so many paintings, so many temples, architecture, music, right? So many kathas, literature, right? Literature, music, dance, drama, festivals, pilgrimage places. So much of cultural rejuvenation happens both at a cultural level, at a spiritual level, because of every incarnation. Now, if you look at the whole impact of each incarnation, it is tremendous. It is not just coming and going, just Krishna lived just for 120 years. But then the impact is eternal, right? So all these things are Vibhava Avataras, right? Now, coming to the fifth aspect of the Lord, he exists as the Antaryami in all our hearts. The witness, we say, if you do something wrong, something is hurting us, right? Something is preventing us from doing mistakes. That is Antaryami as the Lord, as the witness in the heart of all living beings, right? So he exists as all these, right? And the Lord can be worshipped through any form, any name, any ritual, right? And we need to have an emotional, personal relationship with some aspect of God. It is essential, right? Whichever aspect of God which you like. So choose a Ishta Devata, and through the Ishta Devata, you have a personal relationship with the Lord, and through that personal relationship, your spiritual progress will go by leaps and bounds, and it will help you to guess, it will give you also strength to face all the ups and downs of life also. And the aspect in our tradition, we have this aspect of Ishta Devata. You can have whoever as a Ishta Devata. It can be Rama, it can be Krishna, it can be Shiva, it can be Anjaneya, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Sri Ram Krishna, Ganesha, Kartikeya, whichever aspect. right? If you have a guru, the guru would have given you an Ishtadevata. Or if you have not yet initiated, I would highly recommend you get initiated through whichever guru whom you like, whom appeals to you. And till then, you can pick up any Ishtadevata, whomever you like. Or if you have not able to choose, whichever your family deity you can pick up, or the deity of the place where you are residing, you can pick up. So choose some Ishtadevata and stick to that Ishtadevata for your life for at least a long time, right? And this idea of Ishtadevata is very, very important. It will help you to develop a personal relationship with that aspect of Lord. So, what is the relationship between Ishtadevata and the other context dependent devatas? Lakshmi for money, Saraswati for knowledge, right? Ganesha, if you want to start some work, if you go to some kshetras, right? If you go to Varanasi, you worship Vishwanatha. If you go to Tirupati, you worship Balaji. Yes, all are different aspects of the Lord, and but have a personal, special relationship with your Ishtadevata, right? See, it's a very simple thing. Like suppose if you have a bank, and in that bank, suppose let us say you have a big amount of money or big amount of transactions you do, then what will the bank do? They will mark you as a HNI, right? High net worth individual. They'll mark you as a HNI, and they will assign one relationship manager to you. So the bank will assign a relationship manager to you, and an ordinary person, like before that, if when you go to the bank, suppose if you go to the bank to take a draft, before that, so they will say, okay, you want to get a draft, okay, you go there, there is one form, you fill up the form, and then there is one counter here, you go and give it in that counter, a token number will be given to you, you sit and wait, and when the token number is called, then you go and collect your draft, then you go. Or if you say I want a forex, then they'll say, okay, there is a form here, you fill it up, and you show, go and submit it here, and then you will be given a token, you wait there, and then your name will be called, you go to the teller counter, and there they will give you the forex, you sign it, and then you take it with you. Like this for everything, like if you want home loan, if you want to do any kind of transaction, right? There will be different counters for each one. They'll say, okay, if you want to open a SB account, you go to this counter. If you want to convert your child's minor account into a major account, you go to that counter. If you want to get demat, you go to that counter. If you want to get mutual fund, you go to that counter. They'll give different counters for different work in the bank. Now, suppose you become a HNI, you become and the bank assigns one personal relationship manager to you. Now, after that, you go to the bank, to the same bank. When you enter, they will say like there will be offices for each personal manager, each personal relationship manager. So you say, okay, who is my personal relationship manager? Okay, fine, Mr. Abhishek Gupta. Okay. So you ask, okay, where is Mr. Abhishek Gupta? They will say, okay, sir, that is the cabin of Mr. Abhishek Gupta. So you go to Mr. Abhishek Gupta's cabin, and he looking at you immediately. He would have already known you because he has been assigned to you as a relationship manager. They will be contacting you frequently. So he will say, come, sir, please sit down. They'll make you sit, and they will. He immediately, Mr. Abhishek Gupta will call the peon and say, like, sir, do you want tea or coffee? And then you say, okay, I want tea. Then he will order tea. Tea will come, and over a cup of tea, he will ask you, sir, how can I help you? Now you say, like, see, I want a draft for 5 lakh rupees. Then he'll say, okay, sir, no problem. Then he will call the peon. He'll say, hey, bring the draft form, and he will say, he will ask you the details, sir, to which name you want. So you give, and your relationship manager will fill everything. He will fill the details, to whom, how much, everything, and then he will say, sir, can you please sign here? So you just, over a cup of tea, you just sign there. You give it to him. Then he will give it to the peon. The peon will go. He will give it to the right counter, and then he will get it. And then he will say, sorry, sir, like today there is a lot of crowd, sir. Saturday, sir. Don't mind, sir. It will take another 10 minutes, sir. And you say yes. And then he'll say, sir, meanwhile, is there something else I can do for you? Then you say yes. See, my son, he became a major. Became 18-year-old last week. So he has this minor account. I want to convert to major account. Oh yes, sir. Is it so, sir? Congratulations, sir. And then he will say like, can you get him, sir, like next week, and he can come and directly meet me, and I will do whatever is needed, sir. And then meanwhile, the draft is ready. He will, and then it would have come to him. He will say, sir, the draft is ready, sir. Please check, sir. He will only check if everything is fine. Then he will give the draft to you, and then you say yes, everything is fine. Then he will say, is there anything else? Then you say like, no, no, it is fine. Then please visit us again, sir. And then like he will accompany you till you exit the bank also. You get all this respect, personal attention, a single place where over a cup of coffee, cup of tea, all your work will get done, and the person will do all the work for you on your behalf on all the counters. This happens in the bank with your personal relationship manager. Now, your Ishta Devata is like this personal relationship manager. Okay. So, without the Ishta Devata, if you want education, if you have to go to Saraswati, if you want money, you go to Lakshmi, if you want to start something, you go to Ganesha, if you want something, you go there, if you want something else, you go there. You go and knock at different counters for different work. Everything will work. But then, like, you have to follow the process, you have to follow this, that, so many things. But the moment a guru gives you a Ishtadevata, and the moment an Ishtadevata is assigned to you, now you have a single counter for all your work. You don't need to go and knock at different counters, and you can comfortably go sit with your Ishtadevata. Whatever you want in life, you ask your Ishtadevata only, and through your Ishtadevata, you will get everything done. Now, this is the idea of the Ishtadevata. The same God, the same bank only. All the counters are all different counters for the same bank only, including your relationship manager is also of the same bank only. But then the relationship manager has a personal, unique relationship with you through whom you can get everything done. So the moment you have a Guru Mantra, an Ishtadevata, then you don't need to go for different gods and different aspects of God for different kinds of work. Of course, if you want, even after this, you can go and stand in the queue. You can go to the draft counter, fill up the form yourself, get a draft also. That also will work. But then you don't need to go through all the pain. You can comfortably go to directly to your Ishtadevata, to your relationship manager, and get your work done. So that is what is the idea of Ishtadevata. And all these things are not fiction. They are all real. They work for thousands of years, for millions of people. All these things have been working. These are all time-tested things. There is Isvara. All these ideas are there. And there have been millions of people who are getting benefited by all these things. So if you want to get benefited, you get benefited. That is up to you, right? And so now the other thing is, this is a beautiful quotation from Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Hanuman's prayer. So we saw various aspects. So Hanumanji's prayer says, Deha buddhya dasaha asmi, jiva buddhya tvad amsakaha, atma buddhya tvameva aham, itime nischita matihi. So when I consider myself as the body, I am your dasa. You are the Swami, I am your dasa. When I consider myself as the jiva, the jivatma, the karna sharira. So here it is the lower four koshas, right? Here it is the Anandamaya kosha. Remember the Panchakosha. So everywhere, Panchakosha, everywhere it will come. Okay. If you are very clear about Panchakosha, that will solve a lot of your problems. So as long as I consider myself as the lower four koshas, I am the dasa, you are the Lord. Right? Deha buddhya dasaha asmi. Jiva buddhya tvad amsakaha. When I consider myself as the jivatma, right, as the karana sharira, then I am your amsaka. I am your part. Right? Mamaivam, yeah, this is the shloka which I could not remember at that time. 15th chapter. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Mamaiva amshaha jiva loke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha. The Lord says, my own amsha, my own part of it manifests in this loka of jivas, like in the lower koshas, as the jiva. And sanatanaha, the karna sharira is also sanatana, right? Is eternal. So mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. That is what Hanumanji refers to here. Jiva buddhya tvad amsakaha. If I identify myself as the jivatma, then I am a part of you. Atma buddhya tvameva aham. If I consider myself as atma, as a pure consciousness, then there is no difference between you and me, right? So aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutashaya stitah, the jnani can say, right? So iti me nischita matihi. This is my definite understanding, right? And if you see this, dasaha, swami dasaha relationship is what is emphasized in the Dvaita Parampara, and amsha amshi is what is emphasized in the Vishishtadvaita, and tvameva aham, this aspect is what is emphasized in the Advaita. So there is no conflict between Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Advaita. They are all different aspects of the same truth. The truth is the same. Depending on how you consider yourself as, the different philosophies come. And the different acharyas, they have promoted different aspects of different philosophies because each of them suit different types of sadhakas. For one sadhaka, Dvaita will be better. For another sadhaka, Vishishtadvaita might be more suitable. For another sadhaka, Advaita may be more suitable. So there is no conflict between them. It is just that from different points of view, these philosophies exist, and different sadhakas will be able to relate to different aspects of them. And Gita itself talks about three stages along the way. Three say artha, artharthi, jignasu, jnani, right? And depending upon the different stage of the spiritual progress, the person, the devotee, will have different attitude, different worldview, different attitude, and different attitude towards work and worship. So in the artha artharthi stage, the devotee will consider jiva, jagat, ishvara as separate. The jiva, the individual, is different. Jagat, this world, is different, and ishvara is different. These are all separate. And what will he say? He will say, because of that, I work in this world and offer the fruits of action to the Lord in gratitude. And the devotee will worship the Lord to free from afflictions and get disability. So, worshipping the Lord to get free from problem, that is called Artha Bhakta, and worshipping the Lord to get desirable things is called Artharthi. And the Lord says all these three are fine. They are all devotees only, right? So there is a gradation, but it is not bad to go and worship the Lord, saying, "Oh Lord, if I get free from this disease, I will come to Tirupati and I will offer my hair." No problem. Gita says, Artha Bhaktas are Sukritinaha. They are good people. They are doing the right things. Instead of going and, going to a bar and getting drunk to forget your problem, you are at least coming to the Lord and crying before the Lord and worshipping the Lord. And, you are promising the Lord that you will come and give your hair if the problem gets solved. So, no problem, right? The Lord says it is fine. So, because you look at the world as different from the Lord, you work in this world, and in gratitude you offer to the Lord. Ishvara prasada buddhi is what is here, right? Then as a person progresses in spiritual life, he sees that Ishvara is nothing but Ishvara and Jagat are the same, right? uh, the Brahma and the Ishvara and the world are the same. Vishwarupa Ishvara Buddhi, right? Vishwa and Ishvara are the same. Vishwarupa Ishvara Buddhi is there. But still, Jiva and Ishvara are separate. But I am different from Ishvara. So there are only two entities, me and the Lord. The entire universe is collapsed into Ishvara himself. And knowing the world as a manifestation of the Lord, you offer the work itself to the Lord. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi comes. In the previous one, it is Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. In this one, it is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Right? So you offer the work itself as the Lord. So work is worship. Work itself is worship. And because you know that this universe is not different from the Lord, you don't ask the Lord to solve problems, but you tell the Lord, oh Lord, give me knowledge and strength to calmly face the ups and downs of life. So that is the next level. That is the level of jignasu, right? You say, oh Lord, I don't know why this is happening to me. Please give me the strength and give me the knowledge. Tell me what lesson you want me to learn from this. And please teach me. Shadimam, Tvam Prapannam, right? So that is this level of bhakti. And as the bhakti becomes still more, then he becomes a jnani, right? The person you become a jnani, where you understand that only Ishvara exists, nothing else exists. The separation between Jiva and Ishvara also vanishes. You know that it is a Lord who is everything, and you are just a witness to this entire drama of this universe, which the Lord puts in front of you, right? And the Lord is everything, including the self, and you offer the doership of the work to the Lord, right? And you worship the Lord without expecting anything. You just worship the Lord. That's all, right? So there are 3 shlokas in the 9th chapter, right? Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayaschati. That talks about this one. Then yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat. That is about this level. And the next shloka, right? You offer everything, and and then sannyasa yoga yuktatma, right? That is this one. So these 3 levels of bhakti in the Gita you can find. This shloka is from the 7th chapter, Artho Artha, right? Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritin orjuna jnani arti artharti jnani cha. Okay, but okay, actually in the shloka this will be slightly in a different order. Artho jignasur artharti jnani cha bharatashrabha. Right? We have to rearrange it so that it comes in the right order. In the shloka it will be Artho jignasur artharti jnani cha bharatashrabha. So to get the right meaning, we'll have to do a rearrangement. Anyway, so this is the idea. This is the progress of the devotee according to Gita, right? So this is the shloka we saw. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatva shantim richati. Right? The Lord is the omniscient and omnipotent and compassionate. And knowing this, there is nothing for us to worry about. And there is one God who is all these things, and he can be worshipped through any name, form, or ritual, and he responds back. So with this, we will wind up. So there are 3 aspects of personal God according to Gita, right? Omniscient and omnipotent and compassionate. How can you say that God can be worshipped through any name, form, or ritual? Because he is omniscient and compassionate, he will respond back. Navavida Bhakti, we saw, right? And then 3 stages, right? We saw, and Vaishnava tradition, 5 aspects of Lord, different attitudes. I showed the table, and how Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, and Advaita are all the same. We saw Hanumanji's prayer, right? So these are things which you should be able to answer, right, by thoroughly understanding what we talked today. So I know we are kind of already 5 minutes beyond time, but we had to cover this. But we'll take 5 minutes for any questions. And next session tomorrow will be majorly a revision session, because with this we have covered all the major aspects, all the main topics in the Gita we have covered. So tomorrow it will be fully revision session. We will revise completely whatever we have discussed so far in all the 5 days we have been talking about. We will do a complete revision, and we'll also see how to apply that in everyday life, right? Cursorily. And then from next week onwards, we will take up Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, right? So tomorrow it will be very interactive session, lot of question answers, and we will so please bring you all your questions tomorrow. Okay. Today, just before ending, if there is any important, urgent question, we can address it. Just one question or maximum two questions, not more than that. Yeah.
So Gogul Madhu, I have one question.
Yes.
So you mentioned about work like is worship, right? So I remember having read from Swami Brahmananda. He was suggesting that it's difficult maybe for an individual to directly implement that. So start with work and worship, then work
Yes.
as worship, and then
Yes.
work is worship. So I
Yes.
always was curious to know what is the difference between work as worship and work is worship. What is the difference between these two stages?
Okay. So work as worship and work is worship. I don't, I'm not able to differentiate between them. Probably you can check with, you can read it again and or check with some. I will also try to take it up. I will also try to get that quotation of Brahmananji and try to understand. But as of now, I'm not able to differentiate between those two. Okay. Any other questions? Fine. So tomorrow we will summarize and we will take up more questions. We will stop now. We will chant Om Shanti 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 and we will end. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ram Krishna.